educators have been through a lot recently. So to hear such a mean, out-of-touch take from somebody with such a big platform is really disappointing.
Meghan Trainor recently had to come on TikTok and apologize for her careless comments about teachers. In a recent podcast, not only did she platform Trisha Paytas, who has a very controversial and dark past, but a lot of people felt as though they were both making it seem like teachers were a root problem in society right now, as well as publicizing their contempt towards teachers. I think it's safe to say that teachers are one of the most underappreciated professions in the world right now, and that's why people are getting so fired up with Meghan and Trisha for their recent comments on this podcast episode. Meghan Trainor's recent remarks about teachers and her intentions to homeschooling her children as a result landed her in some hot water after her podcast was aired just a couple of days ago. Meghan was joined by Trisha and they were talking about parenthood. And during one point of the conversation, Meghan revealed that she and her husband plan to homeschool their children due to the epidemic of mass shootings in schools across the U.S.
They're homeschooling our kids.
Same. I think everyone.
Fuck that. Everyone on TikTok is. They're like, this is what it's like to have a kid in school in America. I have a bulletproof backpack. I was like, fuck that.
Like that, but also
bullying.
kids can be mean. Teachers. That was my trauma. Teachers.
Fuck
And,
teachers,
you know,
dude.
but then also.
Now, not only did people feel like all this was doing was showing their privilege, since most people in America can't even afford to homeschool their kids, given the status quo, but a lot of people felt as though Trisha and Meghan were inflicting their personal trauma/experiences with their own teachers and judging the entirety of teachers as a whole, and just flat out saying F teachers. You can hear as Trisha expresses her contempt towards teachers, Meghan also agrees and chimes in saying F teachers.
Teachers. That was my trauma. Teachers.
Fuck
And,
teachers,
you know,
dude.
but then also.
Her comment quickly sparked backlash on social media, with many people expressing their disappointment, especially from someone like Meghan, who is huge. I mean, Meghan has a massive platform, and people on TikTok were saying things like, saw that clip and knew PR team was gonna have to work hard. As a teacher, we know what the problems are. We don't have the control to fix them. Support us. I'm a teacher, and that my heart. As a teacher, going to work at a school here in America is so horrific. It's so crazy how we went from heroes in 2020. Even on Twitter, so many people were adding how upset they were with Meghan's statement saying F teachers, and how it felt super disparaging and belittling towards the mass chunk of teachers that actually dedicate their livelihood to impacting children's lives, and even going out of their way to now having to risk their own lives to protect the children.
I'm a teacher in my 7th year, which means that pretty early on in my career, I had to teach during a pandemic. Now we're entering a time where teachers are facing head-on the emotional toll that the pandemic took on these kids. And we're seeing behaviors that we were not taught how to deal with. They're not behaviors that we saw growing up either. I have experienced teachers who have taught for decades coming to me and saying that teaching has never been so difficult as it is right now. And now Meghan's right. Parents do send their kids to school with bulletproof backpacks. And who do you think is expected to use their body as a shield during the moments where those backpacks are necessary? It's the teachers. This tells me you know it's bad, Meghan. Bad enough that you're willing to use your money and resources to try to avoid it. Meanwhile, people like me and those who can't afford to get out of public school are just working and doing our best to make it the best we possibly can.
This was when this TikToker's video was enough to get Meghan's attention, to the point where Meghan publicly made an apology about her statements in the podcast about teachers, and kind of retracted what she said by saying that she didn't mean F teachers in the context that people thought she used it. She said she was using the line F teachers in reference to the specific teachers she and her husband had encounters with in the past.
Teachers of TikTok and teachers of the world, I recently said F teachers on a podcast, and it's not how I feel. I was fired up because we were talking about how sending your kid to school here in America is so horrific, and what all of us have to go through, but especially teachers, is not normal and not okay. I had Trisha Paytas on the podcast, and I knew her history with her teachers. And I knew my husband's history with his teachers, and I was bullied by some teachers. So in that moment, I got angry and said, F teachers, F those specific human beings back in the day. But I did not mean that to all teachers. I love teachers. I fight for teachers. I think they have the hardest job, and they are the most underpaid. They're the most unappreciated when they literally raise all of us. I don't want to make excuses. I'm just so sorry. I'm so sorry to any teachers who I may feel bad. And I will remind myself that my words definitely could have a consequence, and I will be more careful. Love you all so much. I'm so sorry again. Thank you all for helping me.
Meghan also took a moment to thank this teacher for her explanation, writing in her caption, "Thank you for making your video and for bringing attention to this. I am sorry for being careless with my words. I love teachers and I am here for you. Let's work to make schools a better place together." But people were not letting this brush over, saying things like, her entire production team heard her say that through the editing process, actually going through the video, and then publishing it, and just letting it air out. People were just saying things like this stuff isn't a mistake, and that they're sick and tired of people backtracking after getting called out. This one TikTok, in response to Meghan's response video that was getting a lot of likes, said, "You can't unsay something like this. Anything you do from this point forward will be viewed as reactionary and making up for something you did. Just saying sorry isn't gonna cut it. You said it with your whole chest, and you allowed it to go through production. A podcast can be edited, and there is no reason why a remark like this ever should have been in your podcast. Hashtag teachers of TikTok." But it doesn't end there. More teachers came out on TikTok to express how belittled they felt after Meghan's statement, and honestly, it was kind of sad.
By now, I think we've all heard what Meghan Trainor said about teachers, and as a teacher who puts so much effort into my job, to be disrespected like that is just so frustrating. I work so hard to make school a safe, fun, and memorable experience for my kids every week. I find activities that I know they'll enjoy, I pick out stories that I know will make them laugh, and I go as far as washing my classroom rug so that they always have a clean spot to sit on. People wonder why teachers are leaving, and this is why.
But why are we just throwing teachers under the bus in a blanket? Like, a whole teachers? It was really in poor taste.
Others were mad at Meghan for platforming someone like Trisha Paytas onto her podcast, given her controversial and dark history. I will say I'm glad to see Meghan taking accountability and clarifying her words, and I genuinely hope she didn't mean F teachers in the context of teachers as a whole. Now, some people still think she made this apology only after she got called out, and feel as though she twisted her context of her remarks towards teachers just because she was getting called out, and that obviously be pretty bad. So I want to know what you guys think about this entire situation in the comments down below. I love you guys so much, and as always, I'll see y'all in the next video.